have 6 stages of music and speakers going on all 3 days.
All 3 days. And this is about fun and getting the message out and the conversation, from what I can tell.
That's right. We're here, basically to responsibly give our message of free speech that it's time to change the marijuana laws in America, that otherwise law-abiding, responsible Americans who use marijuana are not criminals. The momentum is on our side, and basically I feel we've finally reached critical mass to end this critical mess of prohibition.
Go ahead straight through.
Welcome to Seattle Hempfest 2012, the 21st annual Seattle Hempfest, where we take possession of the parks with the intent to deliver the truth about prohibition.
And then we'll do the north, at north, we'll 10:45 at north end.
Thing up so well, trust me. Happy. All right.
She used to sing so sweet. Since my baby left me, they sing a tune all day.
If you don't have water coming out, I highly recommend you start putting more water in today, because you're going to sweat a lot. It's been unreasonably hot lately. I have recently discovered what dehydration and heat exhaustion are just building this stage. So I really recommend to everybody else, please drink some water.
It's a real working pipe. Is that freaking amazing or what? I mean, these stoners, I tell you, they just got, I mean, it's stoner genius.
A long time since I've been on, my baby's gone to get clean. Gosh, I'm the sound of a point of the wall. Somewhere along the way the people lost control, but now I know, sir, now I know.
Right now, 17 states in the District of Columbia recognize the benefits of medical cannabis, and 12 more will have the opportunity to take the same step this fall. 3 more, including our great state, will vote on cannabis legalization. It is truly a monumental time.
And if that damn camera wasn't pointed in my face, I'd say...
The city of Seattle is one of the nation's most progressive places for cannabis. We have a zero priority for cannabis possession, and since our city attorney, Pete Holmes, has been in office, not one possession of cannabis has been prosecuted. Not one. Applaud that.
You know, if the election were to be held right now, who would be on the yes 502 side? Okay, and who would be on the no on 502 side? And how many of you are undecided? You know, I'd say that's a third, and I think that's why we're here today, everybody.
Please step up and register so you can vote.
Come on over if you ain't registered. We can get it done fast and easy. And vote November 6th. Send a message, be a voice, be a force. Spark up the vote.
is the only, quote, marijuana legalization, unquote, initiative that I have ever opposed in my life. I was for the rest of them. I was a financial contributor to Prop 19 in California. I was totally behind that. I know that some measures have flaws. I know that all measures have flaws if you look closely enough. I do believe that some flaws are too large to accept. Some costs are too high to pay. I don't think patients should be thrown under the bus in an initiative. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary, and it didn't happen in Oregon. They have a good initiative. I totally support that. Mr. Paul Stanford is to be applauded for his efforts there. They have a good enough initiative in Colorado that I would vote yes there too. I'm not saying it doesn't have problems, but I would vote yes to legalization in Colorado. There's just too much wrong with this one.
Well, my world is covered and I don't know what to do. It's falling down around me cause I'm thinking of you. I take a look around the world today. Our morals in decline and we all got insane, 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 insane,
Registered Washington voters signed to legalize marijuana. 514, let's make Washington really green.
Let me tell you about this girl I love. She's sweeter than a honeybee, brown as a dove. And more than that, as a matter of fact, she's the one who still got my back. That's my secret without here. That's my secret. Whoa, that's my safe. Lord, that's my safe.
You guys want a chapstick?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Body bags for the mother-in-law or for your stash.
I do not consent to any searches. And I invoke my right to remain silent. And then you know what? You shut up. Nobody talks, everybody walks. I've taken people with multiple pounds of cannabis from looking at going to prison for 3 to 5 years to walking out of a courthouse with 7 pounds of medicine in their pockets.
It's been so long since we spoke about we have done. And now we know what we must do. Right now and today, I know, yes, I know how long it's been. But you know that we're strong within. You know one day we will take you higher than we ever taken. High, 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 high. Yeah, we're trying to make it so we walk on the cloud. High, high, high. I gotta get it there, I gotta take it there. You know I'm trying to take it high, high, high. You know I'm trying to touch the sky, sky, sky. You know I gotta take it high, high, high. I'm feeling stronger now, I'm feeling right now. I gotta take it sky high. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night skies are like shooting stars? Watching Romeo's I wish right now, I wish right now, I wish right now. First time thank God for keep me breathing, for never leaving when I stop believing. And this is for the gutter in my mind where I find every negative thought, every table that I fall. That could be the country if you're a sick child, but the cure for my mind is nowhere to be found. Every 10-hour shift, every girl that I kiss, that I said I love you too, but clearly full of shit. Airplanes in the night skies are like shooting stars. Rockin' around I all right now, I wish right now.
What is that? It's your Papa Hempfest.
Now.
Just trying to meditate and pray for my people. My consciousness is letting us know that we equal. Stomping from the southwest to the northwest coast. We coming up the most and we feeling the Holy Ghost when we putting it through the smoke. So I'm letting you know with the quote.
What is needed is what happened at the end of alcohol prohibition. We need to have 1 or 2 or 3 states with the courage to stand up and say to the federal government, the hell with you. I am no longer going to spend my money to arrest marijuana smokers. And frankly, I don't know of any other potential action that would have that kind of seismic impact on federal policy. But what happened at the end of alcohol prohibition was the state of New York led the way, and there were some other states that followed fairly quickly. They literally said, we're not going to spend our money anymore arresting alcohol drinkers in New York State. If you folks on the federal level want to do that with your federal resources, come on in. But we're removing our laws. And within a very few years, federal prohibition had come to an end. Now, I'm not suggesting that if Washington and Oregon and Colorado all legalize marijuana this year, that the federal government's going to flip over 180 degrees, the first year. Of course they're not. But what you will assure is if the state of Washington and the state of Colorado, I think those are the 2 where we have our best chance right now. I haven't seen the polling yet in Oregon, so I'm not certain. But it is going to be impossible for Congress to ignore this issue. They're going to have to start taking it serious. You're not going to have the president laughing again when someone asks him a question about legalizing marijuana, which is what we've been hearing from Obama.
The unscientific arbitrary limit I-502 sets as a level of impairment for adults is 5 nanograms active THC, and for anyone under 21 it is 0 nanograms. And we believe this will result in convictions of people who are not guilty of actual impairment. A conviction of DUIC is costly. It includes an automatic loss of your license and a minimum of 1 day in jail.
Now the policeman, he wants to talk to me. He said, how you gonna smoke up all that weed? He said, don't you know we're in a war? Money's what you're in it for. I'm gonna haul your ass downtown with me. Well, now there's nothing growing in my yard, 'cause the cops took all my land and both my cars. Now I have to buy my pot from a teenager in a parking lot who's growing marijuana in his yard.
If you have a bar mitzvah or a rave or a raving bar mitzvah that you need power for,
The double-digit drama over mass inflation. Could it be that we sold ourselves out? We survived this time without.
Okay, 2 of them go over there. Yeah. One down the other.
I remember my step. And like a lot of people, he brews his own beer in his house. He doesn't have to worry about somebody breaking into his house to steal his beer. He doesn't have to worry that when he gives it to a friend, he's subjecting himself to arrest. And the rules we have right now on marijuana, they put too many young people at risk, not just of arrest, not just of incarceration, and by the way, which falls much more heavily on our communities of color than it does on everyone else, but it also fuels criminal violence, and it makes us all less safe. It's time to stop. It's time to tax it, regulate it, legalize it. Vote yes on I-502, and let's have a sane policy, marijuana policy for this state of Washington. Thanks you to Hempfest for 20 years of organizing to change attitude.
Gorgeous piece, about 70 hours, 4.5 days.
If you got a roach right now, come over here and give it to him so this guy can do more artwork out of them. Check out his artwork. All that's made with used roaches.
Okay, I was in art school, and we were learning about mosaics, which, as you might know, are made from ceramic tile. And one of our homework projects was to gather a collection of clipped out magazine page sections of colors so that we could use those to make a small microcosm of a mosaic in class the next day. And as I'm doing that, I'm breaking up roaches to roll a second generation joint. And I've got a pile of magazine clippings over here, and I've got a pile of roach papers over here, and just kind of made the connection that if I could make a picture of something cool out of these stupid little magazine clippings, then I could use roach papers, and it would be way cooler. And that's how it happened.
We should also recognize that those under 21 are the ones being persecuted the most by police right now. They're the ones who are suffering. It's not us people who are old enough to understand how things work and live within the bounds. It's people under 21, and I don't want to give police officers another way to persecute those under 21. I got 5 marijuana charges on my record when I was under 21. That was without this DUI charge on the books. And let's recognize that if this commercial scheme comes into development and these stores open up, it's as simple as it is for police now to follow a DUI suspect from a bar and test them. They can follow you from a dispensary, and reasonable grounds is that marijuana they saw you buy, because 0.00, even if you are a patient, is illegal. I also want to talk about whether or not this can be fixed. If I thought it could be fixed easily, I would not be sitting here opposing it. Any initiative passed by Washington voters cannot be amended for 2 years. In that 2 years, how many victims will we see of this arbitrary, unscientific, and unnecessary DUI?
realize that a family doesn't agree on everything, but they love each other and they're one family. And we need to do the same thing.
And we got one common enemy, we got to remember that.
That's right. And then divide and conquer.
Everybody's got a thing with me. Everybody's got a thing with me.
I have determined that what we have been doing is not only wrong, immoral, and unworkable, but it's got to change. I am here to tell you my conclusion that our failed policy of drug prohibition is the biggest failed policy in the history of the United States of America, second only to slavery. I am saying that when we repeal marijuana prohibition, everybody in the country within 2-3 years will look back and be absolutely aghast and astonished that we could have perpetuated such a failed system for so long. I am looking back at what? 21 years of history of Hempfest. I am proud to be a part of Hempfest. I'm proud to be with you, all of you. Where are the police? There's no police here because there's no need to have police here. Share a part of history. They all say, I wish I had a choice. I wish I didn't have to choose between the lesser of two evils. Because what happens when you choose between the lesser of two evils? You still get evil. We are giving you that choice. It's up to you. It's exciting to be here. I'm proud to be here. Thank you for the invitation to be here, and let's get it done. Thank you, Hempfest. Let's get this done, and I'm proud to be with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Judge Jim Gray.
And it explains what you need to tell the law enforcement. So if you're ever pulled over, just read the back of the shirt. I'm so fucked up.
They start to prohibit it so that they could protect their fuel industries, because we could take that oil from a marijuana seed and squeeze it and get 3 times more oil than any other plant on this planet. And you can take that oil and pour it right into any diesel engine without any conversion whatsoever, even today. Turn the key and drive it. So not only is it a fuel, it'll make plastics, and it's a very nutritious food. The oil has all of the omega-3s, the essential fatty acids that we need for human health.
Hey, buddy! I was chillin' in the shades with your brain in my mind. You were my kryptonite with your body and time. You were simply driving me crazy, you volunteered in due time. But I was stuck there, waiting, but not hesitating to grind it like a pepper or season it like bacon.
The first thing that will happen when Initiative 502 passes on November 6th is that 30 days later, on December 6th, it will be legal for every adult 21 and over in this state to possess up to 1 ounce of usable cannabis in bud form, 16 ounces of cannabis-infused product in solid form, baked goods, a pound, and 72 ounces of cannabis-infused liquid products, or any combination of all three. That will no longer be a crime. There will be no civil penalty. It will no longer provide probable cause for your arrest. You will be able to open your door if the police officer comes and knocks and not be afraid of the fact that you have cannabis in your possession. That happens December 6th. No matter what happens after that, that happens. The federal government can't change it. That is the state deciding that that is no longer a crime under the state law, and the federal government can't make that a crime again.
Who likes to smoke weed? I smoke so much weed, I sweat hash oil. I could never play basketball with hippies. Someone always ends up with a butter knife. Quit scraping me, fucker! If you ever have to carry a lot of weed in your car for whatever reason, maybe for a friend, perhaps you found it, trying to return it to its rightful owner, make sure it's in one large bag. If it's in a bunch of little bags, that's intent to sell. If it's in one big bag, it's personal use. Well, that's a lot of marijuana. Well, I'm a lot of man, officer. It's not a hobby, brother. I love weed. If I was in a gang, this would be my gang sign. Who you roll with? Oh, I'll roll with everybody, dog. You feel me? I'll twist it up, left-handed on a ski lift, wearing gloves in a blizzard at night. You understand? I love marijuana. I do. Marijuana used to be legal until 1937. The founding fathers, Jefferson, Washington, all those guys, they used to grow it, they used to smoke it. The Declaration of Independence originally written on hemp paper. Hemp, better paper than trees, better fabric than cotton, and you can smoke it and talk about shit. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Write that down. Write it down. We'll forget. That's why John Hancock's signature was so big. He was fucking high as hell. Hell yeah, I'll sign that shit. Watch. Look. 1 foot.
Now, a little bad news. Marijuana prohibition results in roughly 855,000 marijuana arrests every year in this country. 855,000. There have been 20 million marijuana smokers arrested just since 1965. There's another marijuana smoker arrested roughly every 38 seconds in America. Folks, it is time we stopped arresting and started respecting responsible marijuana smokers.
People round the whole globe are saying, I would give anything to go to Seattle Hempfest. So you guys, are you happy to be here?
I smelled 420.
Happy 420, enjoy your Hempfest.
420!
Because there's always 420 someplace on the 20th. 420 in two places on Earth.
4, 3, 2, 1, it's 420! Oh yeah!
420,
oh
Seattle.
Yes, thank you. Come on, let's give us a...
I mean, we are all fighting the war on drugs. Some of us don't realize that we're doing it simply by the consumption of cannabis alone. One is demonstrating the futility of prohibition and negating it at the same time.
My man, say something, Edward.
Ed Rosenthal, folks, come on, give him a hand.
Hi, folks.
'cause I really hope when I wrote the song that the message would be real strong, so that some folks, they one day understand. Alcohol's killed so many more than green bud ever will. Look who's keeping the score, a matter of fact. You can't tell day on weed, and they've been lying to you.
What's Hempfest about? What do we want? All right.
And I know that you guys know people that have been arrested for possession in Idaho. Everybody says that you come on vacation, you leave on probation, and it's always a possession charge.
Recycling is sexy!
There comes the freedom train.
Like all the heroes in prison because of this drug war, and we owe it to them because you're here today, you're free today, you get to be here, you get to vote, you owe it to all of those people suffering worldwide to change this, to legalize marijuana, end prohibition, and support everybody who's taking action to make that happen today. So thank you, Seattle Hempfest. This smoke signal goes worldwide.
We're the largest consumer market for hemp seed and fiber products in the world, and we continue to hand this market to the Chinese and the Canadians and the Europeans. You know, my family is sending well over $100,000 to Canadian farmers every year. You know, this is ridiculous. You know, this should be going to American farmers.
And for me, High is a place. It's a very cool place where my speakers sound better, where suddenly I'm a good cook, where conversations slither around like stray cats. And you know, sometimes I want to go there. And a lot of people do. And our government says we cannot. And today there are 80,000 Americans in jail because they wanted to go to that place called High, and our government says we cannot go there. The responsible adult recreational use of marijuana is a civil liberty. Now, it's a drug. I'm not promoting it. I acknowledge it's not healthy. It can be abused. It can be addictive. It's not for kids. This war on marijuana is costing our country billions of dollars, messing up hundreds of thousands of lives. In the last year alone, our government arrested 800,000 Americans, mostly for simple possession of marijuana. And now these people have a criminal record. We're not arresting rich white guys, we're arresting poor people and black people. This is a scourge on our society. And we've been waging our war on marijuana for 40 years, and the fact is, we Americans smoke double the pot per capita that Europeans do. There's no correlation between how hard are the laws and how much do you consume. I-502 is a big and constructive leap forward. Now what motivates me and my co-sponsors on I-502 is not that we're pro-pot necessarily, but it's that we are pro-civil liberties. I'm a hardworking, kid-raising, church-going, tax-paying citizen of the United States. If I work hard all day long and want to go home and enjoy a joint, that's my civil liberty. We've come a long way with 21 years of Hempfest here. When we vote yes on I-502 this November, we may be the first state in the United States of America to legalize, tax, and regulate marijuana. That is a huge triumph. Vote yes on I-502. Thanks. And happy travels, even if you're just staying home, all right? Thank you.
Pre-shot cotton. Happy Hempfest.
What police officers do is they intimidate in that context, in a traffic stop context, and it takes a lot of courage under those circumstances to say, Steinborn said he'd charge me twice as much if I talked to you. Or
and the first line on my card is, be courteous, do not resist the police. But the next line is basically, don't talk. Next line, ask if you're free to go. And when I give them my card, I tell them this. You say, here's my advice. If you're hassled, you tell the police. My lawyer says, don't take my advice, I double the price.
So you have to start your soil up to 6 months in advance by putting your amendments in, your bone meal, your blood meal, and all these different components, and let them compost together, and then you can plant into it once it's prepared.
Currently, 90% of America's crops that are corn, cotton, soy, and canola are already genetically modified. And yet, before we stopped you and asked you, do you know what a GMO is? You never knew.
And you'll see numerous compound plants. Yeah, and they were grown in about 8 months.
You're going to help by not littering Hempfest, by not trampling on all the vegetation. We paid $9,000 just in Port of Seattle, which is the last half. $9,000 last year because of graffiti on signs, because of what else was it? It was stickers all over everything. Every single sticker on every facility and every part of their property has to be taken off by a union laborer. That costs $65 an hour. The whole thing, man, we paid about, I don't know, about $15,000 last year just for damages. And that's money that could go towards making Hempfest even safer for you all guys. So I appreciate your respect and your cooperation and keeping this a community and a safety first event.
I've been a marijuana lobbyist in Washington, D.C. for almost a decade now. And I gotta tell you, being a marijuana lobbyist is kind of like being a priest, because people will confess things to you, like that they use weed and that they love it. And over the years, I have some crazy stories from talking to congressmen, talking to presidential candidates about marijuana legalization. And you know, the thing I've found is that in private, a lot of the time, you'll get that congressman who wraps his arm around you and goes, "Mota! This guy's a Mota lobbyist!" But you need to take this and not make this one day a year, but make it 365 days a year. Because when you give people permission to talk about it honestly, by talking honestly yourself, you'll give them permission to be honest with their friends and their networks, and that seed will spread, and it will be like 1,000 seeds spreading in all different directions. It's got an exponential effect. And it doesn't work unless you speak up.
Then you're going to change the population's idea. And we can see this already with legalization of marijuana. That's just a manifestation of a greater change. Right? The greater change happened in people's personal lives and their personal perspectives, because you go back 30 years and that wasn't the case. People were afraid. People were very afraid, and they're not afraid anymore. So cultivate trust and love.
The Wolfpack, the biggest.
We're sending a message to the whole globe right now. Doesn't matter what country you're in, doesn't matter what language you speak, doesn't matter what you look like, how long or short your hair is, or what you dress, or what your sexual orientation is. Everybody in the planet Earth deserves equality, justice, and truth.
And what we're going to focus on here is we're going to talk about how from the smallest little seed, and I mean even this Hempfest starting up on Volunteer Park, growing into this multi-day event, spreading out nationwide and just making one big consciousness on top of the planet. Little brain cells making thoughts, right? So here we go.
More than 100 plants, 5-year mandatory minimum, more than 1,000, 10 years. We gotta change these draconian drug laws, and until the laws get changed, you gotta obey your jury summons and nullify every federal cannabis prosecution.
In the high, in the low, in the places that they just don't know. We don't need no trouble. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Fun happens. Nice.
I say I love you. So I love you all. West Side. We love you all. West Side. I'm gonna make it.
Mildew blooms in this ratio of cool temperatures and moisture. So when the temperatures drop and the moisture levels come up, you're in a perfect bloom cycle for the spores. So you want to try to not get into that situation to begin with.
Come on now, where I'm at? I got 100. Huh? Where I'm at? 100. What's over? Turn over, right? Watch it out. I'm watching you. Don't you say here, see, turn it over. Right here. Right? It looks freezing, right? Freezing. Does it look cold? Tell me, does it look cold? Oh, you ain't gonna talk to me? Hey, she ain't talking, but hey, does it look cold?
So I'd look for plants that are immune to it. Go around and look at the plants with UVB light. It's a UVB. You can get them. They have them for the hotels and the cops to look for body fluids, right? So they also will find the mold spores. They'll stick out. They're a different color. They're kind of like iridescent. So just shine your light around and you can see them. You can see them right where they're at.
But you got to come out of your holes first, you know. You got to show yourself. You got to show your face. You don't know how many times I've heard, "Oh, I never went to the Hempfest. I can't go there. My boss might be there." And I'm like, yes, your boss might be there. You can get stoned with your boss at the Seattle Hempfest, dilly.
Well, I've been walking through the rain and hail, looking for the sunny side of love.
So does Hempfest.
They're just running out of money, and it's a dumb idea, this drug war, you know. And we've already seen some huge changes, you know, like Mexico is decriminalized cannabis, so is Chile, so is Argentina, so is Paraguay, so is Uruguay.
Gravity and pierce the sky. This is the world's first and only one-handed bubbler. Easy to use, easy to maintain.
Here we are at Hempfest, America's greatest all-volunteer event. Approximately 2,000 volunteers are required to put on this incredible event in one of the most beautiful venues in all of America. And what's it about? Legalizing marijuana. And if the voters take their responsibility seriously, we're going to do so in Colorado and in Washington this year. This year is the year.
But when you take action and you do anything to make a difference, being it vote yes on 502 or yes on any initiative at all, that gets us a little further and reduces the punishment a little more, that is laying another stone in that path to victory and freedom. And again, you may not be there, but you owe it to our children and grandchildren, the people who will come after us, to put those stones down.
You gotta always strive.
cold. You back at it. I told you. Hey, if you came back through, I told you. It's a little cold. That's right. That's right. I told you. I ain't gonna forget all of that. I'm telling you, I ain't gonna forget.
Love you. Everybody knows that marijuana does not make you violent. And if they don't know it, all they have to do is look at the proof. And the proof is called Seattle Hempfest for 21 years. There's never been a serious act of violence in this park, at this event, I mean. And it's a miracle. And it's because of you guys, and it's because of the iriness of the herb. The herb is the kind bud. It's the chill switch, not the kill switch. The herb is the irie vibration, man. The one nation vibration, the one family vibration, the one love vibration. That's marijuana. It's not alcohol, and all of the deaths and all the violence and the suicides and the car accidents and the murders and the violence that's happened from alcohol. Or tobacco and all of the cancer and the emphysema and the lung damage and the restricted arteries and the strokes and the heart attacks and all the just, you could take the cadavers, the bodies, and you could stack them all the way to the moon, the people that died from tobacco. 400,000 a year, it kills you. If you use it correctly, it kills you. But not the herb, man. 10,000 years. 5 to 10,000 years of use by humans. No one's ever overdosed on marijuana. No one's ever died from marijuana, toxic addiction from marijuana, because the herb is benign and therapeutic and relatively safe if you use it wisely.
Thank you so much, everybody. Please be safe going home, and please know how much we love you. We threw another hemp fest and nobody got hurt, man. That's what it's all about.
Back to the drums, Aaron Jones on the way. See these t-shirts for sale. Thank you all so much. Let's go smoke.
This is almost done. They're pushing us out.